How's it going, everyone? I'm Sir James coming at you guys with another lightsaber video, and this time we have something from the classic original trilogy, that is right, from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and that is the original lightsaber that we first see on the big screen for the first time, the lightsaber in which, of course, originally belonged to Anakin Skywalker and was passed down to Luke Skywalker. It's just an iconic design. Not only do I like all the different variations of the graphics, but I also like it when the fans get their own graphics and like customize their own and do unique customizations. It's always cool to see variations. It's always definitely a fan favorite nonetheless. But of course the one I have in hand was sent my way courtesy of ArtSabers, which I'll have a link in the video description down below. As far as the maker goes, I believe it's Nexus, but someone may correct me if I'm wrong, but at least that's what the chassis looks like. But other than that, the one that I'm reviewing in today's video is of the Xenopixel option, which of course has a lot of built-in options. It's too much to go over in one single video, but I'll of course feature some of the highlights and whatnot, especially for those of you who are unfamiliar with Xenopixel, which is always a great beginner option. Originally, I was the type of person who, when I was first introduced to Profi was always like this, like my only favorite option, but over time, I kind of started to like Xenopixel and things like that. They've definitely been improving these Xenopixel options nonetheless. But anywho, let me go ahead and give you guys a closer look, and then we'll go over some of the features. I'll try not to drag on this video too long, but after all, it is a Sunday nonetheless. So of course, here is a look at the lightsaber from a distance. Let's go ahead and do a little spin here, and then I'll give you a closer look. Starting from the pommel section, of course, we have our D-ring to easily clip it onto your belt if you have that built-in option. Nice grip section along the bottom here, all the way around, nicely evenly spaced out. Of course, we have our little bubble strip here. And on the clamp, it does say Graphics on here. And this is a function which I'll demonstrate in just a moment. Along the top, we have our bunny ears. This is going to be the button right here. This is a single button activation, so keep that in mind. And this button's going to do all the customization functions for you. Here is a see-through glass eye, so which means that when we have power enabled on this NA blade, of course, whatever light color we have beaming out is going to represent right here as well. And as far as the blade type, originally I thought it was 7/8, but it's actually a 1-inch blade, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, I also wanted to point out as well is this is going to be the blade retention screw. As you can see, it is a flathead. I will say by default it is a little bit of a pain, but thankfully there is an extra option inside of the box, which is going to be this one right here. And if you wish to make it easier, you could easily add this one. It's so much easier to tighten your blade down without having to use like a little mini flathead screwdriver, that's for sure. Now, of course, before I open it up and show you how to gain access to the internals, I will mention that as far as weight goes, there definitely is some weight to this. Not to the point where it's extremely heavy or light, but I feel like for a lightsaber, I feel like it's just right, if that makes any sense. There's always different weights to the different sabers that I've reviewed, from extremely light to really heavy to where I feel like it's natural in my opinion. But definitely also feels good in the hand nonetheless. Now, if you wish to access your internals, you are going to go ahead and go to this little clamp here and flip it up, twist this, and then lift up like so. Once you do that, you're going to have this area that's going to be exposed, which you're going to have to unscrew this, which is holding the chassis in place, just like that. And here is our board. I like, of course, the built-in kill switch. That's always a nice thing to have. There's our easy access to your SD card, especially if you want to add saber fonts. Keep in mind that if you are planning on adding lightsaber fonts, I highly recommend you make sure that the lightsaber is fully updated on the latest firmware by using the Xeno Configurator app on your mobile device. And of course, we also have a USB-C charge on the bottom. You just bring the pieces back over. Just like so. Bring the other ends. It's only going to go slide down one way, twist till you can't twist anymore, and then lock that back down, and you're good to go. It's just as simple as that. So let's go ahead and bring a blade over. As I said, I don't want to make this video too long. And right now I am using it with the default screw, which means I'm going to be using the little mini flathead it actually comes with as well. Again, using the other ones can be so much easier because I'm always afraid of, you know, either over tightening or like I might accidentally scratch it up. But once you are ready to go, if the saber is in sleep, you just hold down the power on until you hear power on, and that's of course after you make sure that the kill switch isn't on entirely, and then you ignite and you're ready to go. Now, of course, I'm reviewing this as you would get it straight out of the box, meaning I didn't add anything, I didn't change any of the settings on the mobile device, so which means that how I received it out of the box is how you're going to receive it out of the box. Now, I guess before we actually start, you know, enabling all the different features, I want to go ahead and address the negative right out of the way. I have one negative, surprisingly, on this. Now, one of the typical fun aspects about XenoPixel is being able to use your mobile device using the Xeno Configurator app, which of course will enable you to change different settings, the blade length, adding gesture controls or disabling it. And if you were having trouble trying to figure out when to let go of the button, there's a beep feature that you can enable as well. But the one negative that I have with this particular Hilt in question is because there's so much material between where the chassis is located, and like regardless if I have the phone next to it, I can't seem to get the Xeno Configurator app to connect. Now, if I were to again remove this component to where the chassis is a little bit more exposed, it connects just fine. But once it's all assembled like this, it seems to have a hard time connecting. Now again, keep in mind that the mobile phone feature is 100% optional. It's not necessary, but highly recommended, especially for at least updating the lightsaber. You know, at least once you do that, you're good to go. But keep in mind that if you were using the phone feature as your primary function, it's going to have a hard time connecting because it's all, you know, there's too much material in the way. But other than that, let's go ahead and turn off this light here. I have to say right now it feels nice. I actually have my door propped open because it's nice and cool outside, and it's so comfortable right now. Whoa. Hopefully I have this down tightened enough. So first off, one of the main features, of course, is volume control. I get it. You're in a situation where, you know, maybe you need to be a little bit quieter, or maybe just not make any noise at all. Even though with this D-ring here, hey, you're going to make some kind of noise. But holding down the button for a second and letting go will, of course, change volume controls, like so.
Volume low.
Here's volume low. Not as loud. Not as bad.
Mute.
Here is mute. No noise whatsoever, except for, you know, the little D-ring down here on the bottom. Other than that, no lightsaber, you know, sound effects. Nothing. And then one more.
Volume high.
We're back to volume high. because that's how we like to roll. Next, if you hold down the button for 2 seconds, 1, 2,
Unstable.
this is going to change the blade effect. So right now it's unstable, which if I recall, I think that's the annoying one. This one has a flickering, so I'm not gonna have it up here because in case some of you are sensitive to that. So 1, 2.
Rainbow blade.
So there you go. We have our RGB blade. 1, 2.
Candy blade.
Another one there, candy blade. 1, 2.
Cracked blade.
Cracked blade is pretty nice because it almost looks like it's got the effect. Maybe you see it better right here. Almost like it's like water driplets on there, which is pretty nice. And then we'll do a couple more. 1, 2.
Pulse.
Pulse is usually my standard one I like to use just because I like the little pulse effect on there. It's my fan favorite. And then of course for color change, if I recall, I believe you hold it down.
Color change.
There you go. So you point the saber down, hold down the button, and twist the hilts. And you'll go into a color change in which you'll be able to twist the hilts and figure out what color you want. So let's do this one here.
Color selected.
A little bit more of a limeish green. Again, just in case. There you go. Now next is of course going to be the startup effect for the blade, which is going to be holding down the button for 3 seconds and letting go, such as 1, 2, 3.
Broken ignition.
Just like that. And there's quite a few on here. I think it's like 15 or something like that. 1, 2, 3.
Flash blade.
I think this one is... Okay. Yeah, we're not going to show that one. 1, 2, 3.
Photon ignition.
Boom. Let's see. 1, 2.
Volume low.
Nope.
Mute. Volume high.
Sometimes it's annoying when you miscount. 1, 2.
Fire blade.
And again, you could do all kinds of things. So we went to fire blade, but it went to the other ignition type. Now, of course, if you wanted to change the lightsaber font that you're on, you're just going to go ahead and hold down the button for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3.
Moonfield.
Boom. Moonfield is, I believe, the Sailor Moon one. Yeah. I don't know why, but there's always a Sailor Moon font. That or Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I hardly see the Dragon Ball Z fonts at all. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Whispers of power.
And as mentioned, you do see the light feature there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The teacher.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The second.
Or you could just hold it until it switches saber fonts, to be honest. Well, just like that. I always like that little see-through glass eye effect. It's always nice. Well, look at that. See, I didn't even mean to deactivate, and somehow I did it just right. Boom. Swing on. Look at that. You didn't think I knew it had swing on, did you? Actually, I didn't know it had the swing on by default. But, yeah, overall, a fun lightsaber indeed. Like I said, there's at least over like 30 lightsaber fonts by default. And then between all the different effects from the blade ignition to the blade type, there's I don't know how much in between each one, but there's quite a few on there to mess around with. For the most part, you might just enable one or two different ones, and then that's really about it, to be quite honest. But if you're the type of person who likes customization options and a lot of fun features, like for example, my little brother loves messing with all the buttons and features on there, and he always gets a kick out of it. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Now, of course, keep in mind that Star Wars Season of the Force has kicked off at the Disney parks. So I know many of you are going to be asking me about, am I going to be picking up this and that? I'm going to be keeping my eye on some things. There's a few things I want to get already that's not really worthy of video reviews per se, but I'll keep my eye out to see if there's anything cool. I think there's a cool new RC remote control, that little mouse droid that I want to get. Not like the old small one, but apparently there's a much larger one. But yeah, like I said, I'll keep my eye on some things, and we'll be keeping this rolling because I got quite a few things to review. I even have the Hilt from, you guessed it, Star Wars The Skeleton Crew. That will be my next review. Stay tuned for that. Until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And in fact, I'll see you guys in just a few days. Until then, always remember, may the Force be with you.